Police in southern Kentucky are looking for a man they say conned several businesses out of cash.
A Nicholasville man is being celebrated as a good Samaritan by police.
Doors have opened and the Big Blue Nation is pouring into Rupp Arena this evening for Big Blue Madness.
This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good evening. Thanks for watching WKYT. Police in southern Kentucky are looking for a man accused of targeting several businesses with a deceptive con.
Police say the man gives a cashier money, then asks for change equaling more than what was originally given. Mike Byer reports in our top story at 5:30.
He wanted me to keep taking my money out of the register and counting it.
Wayne Merle is a cashier at the Subway inside Walmart in Columbia. He says a man about 5'11", weighing around 160 pounds with a beard recently came into the store, made a purchase, and then demanded more money back than what he gave.
He was trying to confuse me is what he tried to do. After it was all said and done, he got about $16.
The general manager of several Subway restaurants in the area says this man used the same quick change routine at stores in Houstonville and Danville, getting away with nearly $70.
What they do is they try to confuse the cashier by handing them different denominators to change out, and then they'll confuse them to the point where they may get anywhere from $10 to $100.
Columbia police say the most recent incident took place Wednesday night at Circle R Drive-In. Police say the suspect did the same routine as he did in the previous incidents, but pulled out an even more heartless trick this time. Surveillance footage catches the man reaching into a children's fundraising jar, taking nearly all the money. All in all, the restaurant says he got away with more than $50.
We just like to let the businesses know just to be prepared for that, to be on guard.
A lot of people would have been under more pressure, but after about midways, I kind of caught on because he kept relentlessly wanting change and change and change, and I caught on to what he was trying to do.
In Adair County, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Now, both cashiers say they have never seen the man before. They believe he's from out of town. Well, it is a perfect fall day here in the Bluegrass, and our weekend is really looking great.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good out there. Let's check in now with meteorologist Jim Caldwell. You've got a great weekend forecast for us.
Yeah, this is an easy job today. When you come in here, get to talk about the pleasant weather, and it will be for the most part out there. There is a very small chance of a shower tomorrow, but let me tell you, it's more about the sunshine and nice stuff that we get in on. It is right now 66 in Frankfort, 63 in Moorhead, and then you compare that, and of course our temperature in Lexington, to London at 74 degrees, where they are a whole lot warmer, and there's just a pocket of warmth showing up southern and eastern portions of Kentucky here. So we'll just keep that warm stuff going. Here's what we've got to area-wide. Clouds are showing up, a few showers as well. And I think if you are in southern Kentucky here, that's going to be your best opportunity to see a shower out of that little mist that's kind of rolling along the Kentucky-Tennessee state line. One that's getting ready to cross over into southern sections of Laurel County. So while the rain chances aren't widespread, that would be the zone I think that gets in on some of the action. Here's what we've got with the hour by hour, starting at 7 o'clock here this evening, probably in the mid-60s. Overnight, low to mid 50s expected in the early morning hours, and then we're right back into the 70s tomorrow, area-wide, not just in southern Kentucky. They don't get to hog all of it tomorrow. We'll all get to share in on those 70s tomorrow. I'll break down that 7-day forecast that has 80s in it as well, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you. It's the day the Big Blue Nation has been waiting for. The doors have finally opened and fans are pouring into Rupp Arena for Big Blue Madness. This is a live look at a lot of the fun down there at Rupp. It's the unofficial start to the basketball season here in the Bluegrass, as thousands of fans get their first look at this year's team, the men's team and the women's team. We'll have more on Big Blue Madness with our own Rob Bromley later in sports.
A high school principal is behind bars facing child exploitation charges. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Hardin County. State police arrested LaRue County High School principal Stephen Goodlett Thursday on 60 counts of charges related to possession and distribution of child pornography. Police launched the investigation following a complaint that the principal was sharing images of child porn online. The LaRue County School Superintendent says Goodlett will be suspended with pay. Goodlett is in the Hardin County Detention Center on a $75,000 bond. In Madison County, a traffic stop led to police locating a missing juvenile. State police say an officer pulled over 28-year-old Dustin Hurley for not wearing a seatbelt and having excessive window tint. The officer then discovered the passenger in the vehicle was a missing juvenile from Richmond. Hurley was arrested for a DUI after failing a field sobriety test. The officer also found a small amount of heroin in Hurley's vehicle and charged him with possession of a controlled substance. Hurley is in the Madison County Detention Center without bond.
Nicholasville police are recognizing a Good Samaritan. They say he returned a purse with $8,000 in cash after it had been reported missing by the owner. Sabira Rayford has more in a story that's new at 5:30.
If I told you that this bag had $8,000 in it and you found it abandoned in a store, would you take it? Well, for one man, that question was his reality. Police say a woman was shopping at Ollie's Bargain Outlet Wednesday afternoon when she accidentally left her bag in the store. Employees at the store say a woman came back moments later frantic. She said she had thousands of dollars in her purse and she had accidentally left it in her shopping cart. Employees and the woman searched the store for the bag, but there was no luck. Police say a Good Samaritan brought the bag into police. That man does not want to be identified and told police he does not want attention for doing the right thing. The woman went to the police station to claim the bag, and after police confirmed it belonged to her, she opened it up and said all of the money was intact.
Yeah, it kind of bothered me all day because the poor woman, I mean, she was physically shaking and totally distraught, like she lost her best friend. And then found out that she was paying a loan off and was on her way, I guess, to wherever to pay it off, and just not thinking, left the purse inside her shopping cart.
The store has only been open 3 weeks, and employees say this is the second time someone has lost their bag. In Nicholasville, Sabir Rayford, WKYT.
Well, and police say the woman tried to reward the man, but he told her he didn't do it for a reward, but because it was the right thing to do.
Well, a Frankfort business is being recognized for its role in the African-American community. A ceremony was held this morning near the former location of Mr. Taylor's Barbershop, a well-known business in the African-American community. The business is now one of a handful of establishments being honored across the state with a historical marker from the State Highway Department. Mr. Taylor's Barbershop was torn down in 2014.
Well, lottery sweepstakes scams have become one of the most serious crimes targeting the elderly and vulnerable citizens nationwide.
One daughter struggled to keep her mother from sending more and more money after she became tangled in a complex scheme. Sam Dick explains in this Consumer Alert.
When a family friend said, I'm kind of worried about your mom. I visited her and she's putting cash into envelopes. That was the first signal that we had that maybe something wasn't quite right.
Shereen Nudd is still stunned. Her financially savvy mother, Betty, fell for a scam wiping out her retirement savings. Once the family began looking, they realized she was entering a lot of sweepstakes.
$25 per envelope, a dozen envelopes a day.
The letters said that Betty won a multi-million-dollar prize. All she had to do was pay the taxes. But no winnings ever came.
Pretty soon your name gets on a list, and then the telephone calls start. And the telephone scammers take money at a much faster rate than the mail scammers.
Betty's family intervened and thought she understood to stop sending money, but it requires constant monitoring.
What you don't realize is you may be talking to them once a month or once a week, but the scammers are calling every 15 minutes. And they're professionals. They know how to make a friend.
In all, she lost around $200,000, her entire retirement savings.
They took all the money from a little old lady who had worked hard all her life and left her with nothing. This is financial rape.
Postal inspectors are finding that seniors in this country are under attack, basically from fraudsters who are operating lottery fraud schemes from outside of the country.
The problem continues to grow nationwide. Hundreds of millions of dollars already lost each year in mass mailings fraud.
The sooner you get involved, the sooner it can be stopped. And unfortunately, these fraudsters are so ruthless and relentless that they won't stop until they've taken your senior relative's last dollar.
That was our Sam Dick reporting. If you or a loved one has been a victim of a sweepstakes scam, you can file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. The site provides tips on how families can spot signs that a loved one has fallen victim to mail fraud and some ways to stop the scam.
Students at a Richmond high school are celebrating a Mexican tradition. That story in about 6 minutes on WKYT.
I'm Bill Bryant. Democratic Senate candidate Lexington Mayor Jim Gray says his opponent sacrificed Kentucky's interests for his own presidential run. And the latest from the presidential campaign trail coming up on The Bottom Line.
Lexington Mayor and U.S. Senate candidate Jim Gray is going after his opponent for his presidential run.
Bill Bryant has the details in The Bottom Line.
Good evening. Lexington Mayor Jim Gray says his U.S. Senate race is gaining traction and that he is attracting support from around the state. Gray is the Democratic Senate nominee who faces freshman Republican Senator Rand Paul on November 8th. Gray says people he is talking to are frustrated that Paul spent time running for president during his first Senate term.
He missed 70–80% of his committee hearings. You know, this is a senator who was focused on the presidential campaign almost as soon as he was sworn into the Senate. 3 months after he was sworn into the Senate, he was in the cornfields of Iowa and the coffee shops of New Hampshire. Now, admittedly, he was then campaigning for his father, but it was a preparation for his own race. This is a senator who has represented not Kentuckians, but his own personal ambitions.
Now, Paul has said that he missed very few votes and that his high-profile race gave him extra clout that benefits Kentucky. We're hoping to schedule an interview with Paul before the election. The interview with Gray on Senate and Lexington City issues will run Sunday morning at 6 on WKYT, and it repeats Sunday at 10 a.m. on the CW Lexington. Set your DVR or catch Kentucky newsmakers then. Mike Pence says the Trump campaign is working on producing evidence that will help Donald Trump refute allegations by several women of sexual assault. Pence tells Fox News that the news media is focusing unfairly on the allegations instead of hacked emails apparently from Hillary Clinton's campaign that he says show the religious bigotry of Clinton advisors. He was referring to an exchange in which one aide suggested that being Catholic is a more socially acceptable conservative religion than being evangelical. Clinton, meanwhile, is out west on a fundraising swing that took her to California and to Washington State and for some TV appearances. A release of a hacked email released by WikiLeaks reveals her campaign had a script prepared for a video that was never done. Reports reveal it would have had Clinton personally apologizing and taking full responsibility for using a private server while she was Secretary of State. It came at a point when the issue was taking a major toll on Clinton's trustworthiness numbers in the polls. The Clinton campaign is not confirming or denying the content of what it calls stolen documents. And the greatest will be remembered here in his home state with a 10-day festival next summer. Louisville will celebrate the legacy of boxing legend Muhammad Ali with the I Am Ali Festival. It'll be next July. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
Students at Richmond's Model Laboratory School are honoring a Mexican holiday. Students with the Spanish Honor Society are creating an altar celebrating the Day of the Dead. Their work will be on display at the Smithsonian Museum of the American Indian in Washington, D.C.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Gray skies are with us here on this Friday, but don't let that get you down too much because I promise things are looking up for the weekend. More sunshine, temperatures are back into the 70s, close to 80 degrees. Here's what we're looking at outside right now, and there you see the gray skies. Temperatures still at 60, so it's 67 degrees here, catching a wind out of the east at around 6 miles per hour. So a little breeze that you'll feel every once in a while, gusting up to 10 or 15. Not a big deal at all. Area-wide, temperatures are in the 60s. You got 64 into Mount Sterling, 63 Morehead, 62 Maysville. And when I say area, I mean right around central and northern portions of Kentucky, because you go to the south, it's a completely different area. They're like, what are you talking about? 60s. We're in the 70s, and they've been close to 80 at times. Monticello got up to 78 today. So, I mean, a lot more of that warm air showing up in these locations. So overall, they are certainly seeing a little more moisture as well. So we're tracking some showers across extreme southern sections of Kentucky, right along the Kentucky-Tennessee state line, now getting into Wayne County. One little shower that kind of broken away from the main flow, now working its way into southern Laurel County. Not a big deal. Stretching here to get some of those showers together, but overall it's just a little piece of energy that's pushing in from the south, which has also allowed for some of the warmer air to get transferred into Kentucky. Here's what the hour by hour looks like. We're still watching bring that rain around Nashville, and then you can see it starts to wrap up. Overnight, some clouds around, and into the day tomorrow. We'll get back on the sunny side, but there might be just a rogue shower that tries to go up, kind of like what we're seeing out there right now, but no major push of energy that's trying to get it going. So, again, if there's anything that goes up, be very isolated. We get into Sunday, and you can see a frontal boundary on the move. This front never makes it to Kentucky, at least not this one. We've got one that will, but that won't happen until we get into next week. So we're going to go through a period where things are going to be pretty warm. So we're looking ahead all the way into next Tuesday. Watch the collapse, though, of what would be a very nice air mass around here. Here comes a big-time cool to just downright cold change trying to get into the area. There was some data that was trying to come out yesterday, last night, and early this morning that suggested this would be cold enough to maybe even support flakes in the mountains of West Virginia. That is how intense the cold could be from that. Now, we'll see. We'll watch it and closely monitor it over the next few days. And, of course, we all know Chris Bailey will love to watch that, as his favorite thing is snow. Snow and me. 7-day forecast. You see there, 70s Saturday and Sunday. Next week, guys, we're in the 80s, and then you see that big blast of the cooler air coming our way. I'm his best friend because, you know, here it is, Big Blue Madness Friday, and he may be over there, so.
So you think he likes snow?
Yeah. All right, okay.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we cleared the crash on the interstate on 75 north at the 115. Still working one at 5th and Chestnut. That is a non-injury collision. Keeneland traffic causing delays on Versailles Road, 15 to 20 minutes through there. And on the outer loop of the circle right now, it's backed up from Georgetown over to Harrodsburg Road, just bumper to bumper. All lanes are moving. To Frankfort, about 36 minutes, to Winchester, 30, and 27 minutes to Richmond on I-75. Now back to you in the studio.
We are not talking snow, we're talking basketball tonight. Just ahead, we head back now live to Rob at Rupp Arena.
And we are getting ready for another Big Blue Madness. Matthew Mitchell always seems to have something cooked up. We will hear from him. And how will the Wildcats play this season? Looks like it'll be 3 guards again. Cal talks about it next when we come back with sports. And welcome back to Rupp Arena, where we are exclusively on the floor for you, as we are the official UK station. Big Blue Madness here tonight, and John Calipari will introduce what should be another outstanding basketball team. Now, last season, as you know, Cal played with 3 guards: Tyler Eulis, Jamal Murray, and Isaiah Briscoe. Now, with Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox coming on board, he'll likely go with the 3 guards again.
The interesting thing is, what are the combinations going to be? My guess would be 3 guards, you know, a little different than the 3 guards we played last year, but different, but 3 guards. But at times we may go big with 6'10", 6'10", 6'10", and a couple guards who are 6'4". So, you know, there are certain players, if I put in, will probably play some zone. My son.
When it comes to madness, fans will want to see what women's coach Matthew Mitchell is up to tonight. Since 2010, he has made dancing a tradition. He says this year he has something up his sleeve.
Everybody in town asks me about it, wants to know what's going on. So obviously it's part of the night. It makes it a fun part of the night. And the fans are so good to us. We want to be good to them and let them have some fun. So.
All of us really just been counting down the days for Big Blue Madness. We're all really excited. There's always just a little bit more energy around when it's about to come up. We've all been like trying to decide which song we're going to walk out to, like what we're going to do, like dance-wise, things like that. So we're just really excited for it.
All right, let's turn to our high school football game of the week, which has major playoff implications. It is Madison Central meeting Lafayette. The Generals have a dynamite offense, but the Indians have shown they have a lockdown defense. Last year, Lafayette won 45-28, captured the district title, and finished as state runner-up.
It's kind of that old, you know,
old wrestling thing from when we were growing up. You know, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And so Lafayette right now, they're the man. But I feel like we performed very, very well against Lafayette. We had a few things that didn't quite go our way, and then of course Walker got loose and did what Walker does, and that didn't help us any as the game got open. But you know, we put a very solid offensive performance on the board, and we're playing very well defensively. That game was a dogfight at halftime, and really, you know, outside of a few missteps in the third quarter, it was a very, very competitive contest the whole time.
And a big night of high school football is ahead, and of course, madness is ahead tonight. It all gets started here at 7 o'clock. We will be back with much more from the floor of Rupp Arena when we continue on at 6 o'clock. Stay with us here on WKYT.